everyone, you're welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to sew a beautiful backless maxi dress with a gathered base. This project is beginner friendly and creates such a flattering dress that works for many occasions. So stick with me and let's get right into the video. So these are the fabrics that we'll be needing for this project. So I'm going to be mixing these two fabrics together to create the beautiful dress. So now I've started my measurements. I'm going to be measuring the length first, the length of the top. Then I'm going to be making use of the half lengths. It's the half length I'm going to be making use of. I just think this half length for this customer is 17. So that's what I measured. And then I'll go ahead and put the measurements of our outfit, which is first of all the shoulder, then the bust measurements and the waist measurements. So to do this, I first of all measured the shoulder and then I measured the armhole, which I used 8.5. And on that armhole, I went ahead to measure the bust measurements and added allowance. So if you can see the marks that I'm doing, first of all, it was the measurements and then added allowance, which is 1.5 to 2 inches allowance, depending on what you think is best. I usually prefer to go with 2 inches just to be safe. Yeah. So I'll go ahead and do that for the waist also. Measure the exact and then the allowance. I think for the waist I added 1.5 inches for the waist part. The reason is that the customer was telling me that she has lost a bit of weight, so I'm a bit unsure. So I decided to just reduce the allowance to 1.5, just in case she has really lost weight. It won't be too big. So after taking the measurements, I go ahead to mark out the neckline. Okay, so this is not showing. I don't know why the camera, I don't know, it's my fault. So I didn't place the camera well. But what I did here was to measure the neckline. I'm not going to be cutting it out, so I'll end up showing you what it is later. Just stick with me. But I went ahead to measure 3 inches for when the neckline will start and stop, just to note it down. And then I go ahead and cut out the measured parts of the bodice. So after doing that, I'll go ahead and open it up because I'm actually we're making a wrap kind of top style, as like using a sort of a wrap top kind of style. So I'll just go ahead and split this. Yeah, because I want the end part to have a kind of wrap. It's going to like overlap each other. So I go ahead and trace from the top of the neckline which I had marked to the end, and then go ahead and give it a cut, just a long cut like that. So after doing that, I'll go ahead and place this on another fabric and then cut out the exact same thing. I'm cutting out the exact same thing on another fabric. So now you can see the style very well. Yes, I'll go ahead and cut out the exact same thing for the front. So this is how it's going to look like when sewn. It's going to look like this, an overlapping top. And then I go ahead and cut out the lining for the front part by placing it on it and cutting out the exact same thing. So after doing that, I'll go ahead and cut out the back. This back is going to start from the waist because it's a backless dress, but I want it to start from the waist. So it's just going to be the upper back that's actually backless, but the lower back, which is the waist area, is going to still be covered. So that is why this is like this. So this is me measuring the zip part. I'm doing 1.5 inches for the zipper allowance. It's going to have a zip that would go into the skirts of the dress. So it's an half, like call it a half backless dress. Yeah, maybe that's what I should call it. And then go ahead and take my waist measurements also, taking the waist measurements down and also taking the waist measurements up, because it's going to start from the waist down to the end of the waist, basically something like that. So I'm going to be taking identical measurements from the top and the upper parts and the lower parts. Yeah, I'll just try and give it a little curve because the body, the human body is curvy, so it's not like a straight line. So just go ahead and so I just made it have a little curve. Also go ahead to measure the curve for the back. This is to ensure that the back of the clothes doesn't fold. Yeah, so the curve of the waist into the butt, so that little slope, that's what I'm going ahead to cut out to just make sure it's snatched at the back. We are done. We are done with cutting the back. I'll also go ahead and cut out the lining for this part, so it's cutting out the exact same thing. And after doing that, I'll go ahead and cut out the rope parts that I'm going to use to tie the top, tie it to the neck. So basically that's what I'm doing. I cut out the first part and I'm cutting out the second part. It's just a long rope that not necessarily actually the rope, but yeah, to just tie at the back. And then we go to the machine and start sewing our pieces together. So we start by sewing the lining to the fabric. So I'll go ahead and do that for every one of them. So I start by sewing the overlapping parts. After sewing it together, I would go ahead and give it a top stitch also. This is to ensure that it stays very, very flat. And then when you see this clothes, you won't be seeing the lining parts showing. That's why I go ahead and give it a top stitch. So you should also always do this. It's very important to ensure that the lining stays flat. Yeah, so I do that for both pieces, and then I go ahead and sew the lining on other parts of the clothes, which is the back piece. As you can see here, I've gone ahead to sew everything together and then gone ahead to press it together. So I've given this sort of ironing, and I joined this part on the downside. After joining it, I ironed it, and I also went ahead to gather the down side of it. That's the skirt part. The skirt part is going to have a gathering, so I went ahead to gather it also. So if you want to learn how to gather, you can watch my video on how to gather a skirt, and also watch my video on how I made this waistband. I have a video on that, on how I made a waistband. So try to watch that video, it will help you. So then I go ahead and add the waistband to the skirts, going ahead to cover those rough edges with the waistband. This skirt's going to have a band, so that's what I'm going ahead to put now. And after doing that, I would press it and then add every other parts. Okay, the next thing I'll go ahead and put my measurements. That's the person's measurement right now on this place. So I went ahead to measure the exact measurement divided by 2. Going ahead to put the exact measurement. This time around, no allowance there. So if you see, you can see the allowance that I put. It's 1 on each side. So I'll go ahead to put the waist measurement and then the bust measurement, and go ahead and make the measurements show on the back side, and then go ahead and stitch it. After doing that, I'll go ahead and fold the arm of my clothes. So what I did was to fold it. I didn't use a piping or anything. I folded it. No bias this time around. Just fold it neatly the way I'm doing. Yeah, that's just what I did. Fold both sides. Yeah. The next thing is to gather it. So it's going to have a gather on the top part. That's the sleeve. It's going to have a little gather on the top side. So I went ahead to do that. I didn't do it like the normal way of gathering. I just folded it together sort of like in a gathering way, and then did the first arm and the second arm. Just easy. It's just to give it, let it have, a sort of fold, and just, add beauty to the style. That's what I did. And then I went ahead to put the rope, the band that I created for the tying. So I went ahead and attached it to the top. Just attach it at the back side like that. I attached it to the shoulder, and we're done with that. Okay, so just see how everything looks after joining. Looks neat. And so what I went to do next was to pin the top and the downside together. After pinning them together, just to ensure that everything is good, that was why I pinned it. So it's always good to do that, and then go ahead and stitch them together. Yeah, just stitching it together like this, and you'll have your dress. So see how it looks after the stitching. Yeah, so we'll go ahead and iron it. After ironing it, the next thing is to fix the zipper. So you go ahead and pin every part together. Ensure that the lines are facing each other. So you won't have a situation whereby one is up, one is down. So ensure they're facing each other. That side, the top side, the waist side, and also the downside, because we join fabrics together. So we don't want the downside, one part looking up of the joint fabrics and another one looking down. Everything has to be the same. Then you go ahead and So measure where you want your zip to start from, and then you sew the remaining parts down, ensuring that the fabric you join together is laying out flat. That's to lay out flat, and make sure that also the two parts are joined together, and then sew it straight. Then go ahead and fix your zip, and then you are done after fixing your zip. So do ensure to watch my other videos on how to fix lining to a skirt. I explained that very well. I also have a video on gathering skirts. So if you want to know how I gathered the skirt, watch that video. Also, I have a video on how to make a waistband. So you should also watch that video and my other videos. Thank you very much for sticking with me up until this time, and I really do hope I see you in my other video. If you like this video, please give it a like, share with a friend, and also comment. I want to hear your comments. If you'd like to let me know where you're watching me from, I'll really appreciate it. I am back from Nigeria and I live in Canada at the moment. I'd love to know where you're watching me from also. So I will be making a video on how to fix the zip, so no need to worry about that. So after when you finish, you go ahead and you iron it out, and this is exactly how it looks. So beautiful, so easy. Emphasis on easy, so easy. And of course, this is how it looks like. I can't wear it with the customer's clothes, but I hope you can see how it looks like. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Thank you.